Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take the sources you send us and really dig into them to pull out the key knowledge.
And today we're looking at something pretty intense. It's an interrogation transcript from that YouTube channel, The Villains.
Right. The episode called Narcissistic Killer's Interrogation Makes Detective Cringe. Quite a title.
It really is. And what we have here are the words of John Asher Ferrell Villa. He was 22 at the time. This is after a shooting on Christmas Eve, 2014.
Yeah, a truly awful event on I-85 in South Carolina. Mary Marie Fowler was killed, and James Dobson was critically injured.
And initially, it wasn't clear exactly what had happened. Just chaos, really.
A 911 call comes in, says 2 people shot on the highway.
That's right, I-85 South. First responders get there. They find James Dobson shot in the back of the head, still alive somehow. And Mary Marie Fowler also critically wounded.
And Dobson, even in that state, he managed to say something, didn't he? Something crucial.
He did. It's just heartbreaking. His dying declaration was, "I was just trying to give him a ride."
Wow. Just trying to help someone.
Exactly. And sadly, Mary Fowler died later that day. For a bit, investigators didn't have much to go on.
Until they realized the car was missing. Dobson's car. Well, his mother's car.
Hyundai Elantra.
Yeah, a 2013 Hyundai. Once they knew it was missing, they put out an alert. And then a few days later, December 30th, Deputy Coward spots it.
And inside the car. Well, that must have been the big break.
Absolutely. I mean, it was full of evidence. They found blood, obviously, but also the seatbelts had been cut out.
Cut out. Strange.
Yeah. Plus a .22 shell casing, and then the firearms. A .380 handgun, 2.22 handguns, and even a .22 rifle.
And these weren't just regular guns, right? There was something specific about them.
That's right. They all had homemade silencers. Or suppressors, which adds another layer to this whole thing.
Okay, so they find the car, they find Villarreal, but he didn't just confess immediately, did he?
No, not at all. For the first couple of hours, he completely denied everything. Said he didn't know Fowler or Dobson, had no idea about the guns in the car, just total denial.
Standard procedure for some, maybe. Pretty common, yeah. But then things changed. They put him in a holding cell. Investigators were maybe thinking of wrapping up for the day.
And then he decides he wants to talk.
Exactly. Suddenly, he's ready to talk. And the way he started was, well, unusual. Very dramatic.
How so?
He apparently came back in and said something like, "I'm not here for questions. I'm here to tell you what happened." Declared he didn't fear any human, only God.
Okay.
And then famously, he said he didn't give a damn about a lawyer. Just waived his rights right there. It felt very performative.
Setting the stage. So what was the story he wanted to tell? What was the justification?
He called it a rescue mission. He claimed he got a message, supposedly from someone named Karina, saying her stepfather was abusing her.
A message? Like a text or?
The transcript doesn't specify exactly how, just that he received this message. And apparently his immediate reaction was, right, I have to go rescue her.
And this rescue mission explains all the gear, the guns.
That was his explanation, yes. He talked about packing up, putting on a rain suit, getting his bike, and then going to this abandoned house, a safe house, he called it.
A safe house.
Yeah, where he picked up the guns and these homemade suppressors. He even admitted he made the silencers himself, no special tools, and knew they were illegal.
Okay, so he's got the gear, he's on this mission. How does he end up with Dobson and Fowler?
He says he was hitchhiking Fletcher Street. Dobson and Fowler drive past. He flags them down, asks for a ride to I-85.
And they agree.
Well, initially they said no, but then they offered to take him to the Georgia line for $25. So he gets in. He even said they were perfectly nice to him, helpful.
Just to give him a ride.
Just trying to give him a ride. But somewhere along the way, he decides he's going to, quote, commandeer the car.
Commandeer, okay.
He even faked needing to use the restroom to get them to pull over. Okay. And then it happened incredibly fast.
And he just shot him.
According to him, yeah. He said he presumed the man was armed. No evidence of that, just his presumption. Shoots Mary Fowler once in the head, then turns and shoots Dobson 3 times in the neck.
The neck.
He said he meant to shoot him in the head too, but he fired too quickly and missed his aim.
God. And his thoughts right after doing that, what did he say about that?
It's chilling, really. He said his first thought was, don't think about it, don't feel...
Just compartmentalize him immediately.
Right. He said he knew it was wrong, but thinking about it would stop him from, continuing his mission. He did say he felt remorse for the families, but it sounds very detached.
So after the shooting, he just gets back in the car and drives off. What was the plan then?
He drove to a gas station, a Lowe's station, he said, tried to clean up the car. That's when he cut the seatbelts out, apparently couldn't get the blood off them.
Ah, okay. That explains the cut seatbelt.
Yeah. Then he bought gas road maps and drove straight to Fitzgerald, Georgia, looking for Karina. Said he was speeding, using back roads, trying not to get caught.
So, he finds Karina's house. What happened there? Did the rescue happen?
Well, he got there, used his GPS, told Karina to pack her stuff, but then her mother came out.
Oh.
Yeah, told him to leave. But instead of leaving, he argues with her. Ends up with the mother calling the sheriff.
He argues with the sheriff, too.
Apparently. Tried to tell the deputy about the law, his rights, that kind of thing. Just seems incredibly confrontational, even then.
Maintaining this weird sense of authority.
It's really strange. Eventually, he gives the deputy his info, tells Karina he'll be back on January 20th. He thought that's when he'd be legally 18 in South Carolina, which was wrong.
And then he just drives back.
Drives back towards the safe house, even gets a speeding ticket on the way.
Unbelievable. But the whole rescue mission story, he later admitted parts of it weren't true, right?
Yeah.
Especially what he told his family.
That's right. He confessed he'd actually told his family some other story, a rescue opera, he called it, involving gangsters, just to get gas money from them.
A rescue opera.
Wow. And then it gets even darker. He revealed his real plan was to go back to Karina's house that Tuesday night with all the weapons.
All of them? What for?
He said he expected a confrontation, and he was ready to, and these are his words, whack everybody there. Except Karina, of course.
Whack everybody, just casually said that.
Apparently so. But then investigators suggested maybe he'd harm Karina too, and he got really angry. Insulted even.
So this distorted hero complex is still running strong. He's the protector, even if it means killing everyone else.
It seems that way. He insisted the only people he ever wanted dead were, like, child molesters and drug dealers, trying to paint himself with some kind of moral code, however warped.
But there were holes in his story, weren't there? Like that shell casing.
Exactly. The .3A0 shell casing found in the car. He swore he never fired the .3A0. Claimed he was praying for forgiveness right after shooting Dobson, said God wouldn't forgive him if he lied now.
So denying physical evidence while claiming piety? That's quite a contradiction.
It really is. Then he tried to explain the shooting itself as a fight-or-flight reflex. Said he wasn't experienced in commandeering vehicles.
As if that's a skill you just need practice with.
Yeah.
After planning with homemade silencers in a safe house?
The disconnect is just staggering. He also talked about believing in absolute justice being part of some anonymous organization. It all builds this picture of a very distorted reality.
Did his family offer any insight? His mother, maybe?
His mother did make some statements after the arrest, suggested he might have been manipulated online, cyber manipulation, and mentioned he didn't really have much religious upbringing. Trying to find some explanation, I suppose.
Understandable.
Yeah.
So, facing the consequences, what was his take on punishment? Did he grasp the severity?
It's hard to say if he truly grasped it. He said he thought he deserved the death penalty, but he didn't want it.
Why not?
He wanted to live so he could teach others about crossing the line. He even talked about wanting to make a good ending someday, start a business.
Start a business.
Yeah.
After committing double murder?
It's a bizarre disconnect, isn't it? Acknowledging the ultimate crime, but planning a future.
It really sounds like his view of violence was messed up. Maybe from fiction.
He actually said that. Mentioned movies, novels, assassins, that kind of thing. Said they blurred the lines for him. He even compared himself, disturbingly, to the CIA, trying to frame his actions that way.
And his ideas about fear and control.
And also very chilling. He talked about how the fear of death, especially if there are no witnesses, makes people cooperate. It's a really cold perspective.
But in the end, the justice system did hold him accountable.
Yes, absolutely. He was sentenced to life in prison for the murder of Mary Fowler and the attempted murder of James Dobson.
And Jobson spoke at the trial, didn't he?
He did. Still recovering. He just asked Villarreal, I don't understand why. Why did you do what you've done? A question that, honestly, still hangs in the air.
Yeah. And Villarreal's time in prison hasn't been entirely smooth either.
No, there have been disciplinary issues. Disrespect towards staff in 2020, caught with a cell phone in 2022, lost privileges for that.
So wrapping up this deep dive, looking at this transcript, what's the core takeaway for you?
It's just this disturbing mix, isn't it? Callousness, intense self-justification, and this completely broken moral framework. His confession really shows that dangerous place where fantasy, this self-made narrative, completely overrides reality and empathy.
Right. And our mission here is always to get to the heart of the sources you send us. This one, well, it's a stark look into a certain kind of criminal mind.
Which brings us to the thought we want to leave you with. What does a case like this, Villarreal's whole narrative, really tell us about self-deception, about how far someone can go when those lines between fantasy and reality just dissolve?
And maybe more fundamentally, how do you even begin to square someone expressing a desire for redemption, talking about teaching others, with the absolute horror of what they actually did? Yeah, it's a lot to think about.